the streaming world of what he believes to be of quality. But there is, unseen by most, an episodic horror-based TV show. A show that still holds up. A show called Tales from the Dark Side.
Are you sure?
Well, I see it in the cards. And this one here, the Knight of Swords, he never lies.
Hey, what's up, and welcome back to Talks from the Dark Side. I'm Joel Escola.
I'm Sean O'Rourke.
And I'm Chris Bahr.
This is the podcast where we take you through the entire series of Tales from the Dark Side, the anthology series from the 80s created by George Romero and Richard Rubenstein. Today we're talking about In the Cards, with an original air date of January 27th, 1985. Directed by Theodore Gershuny, written by Carol Lucia Citrina, also with a teleplay by Theodore Gershuny. So yeah, so here we are, and we're talking about In the Cards, guys.
Yeah.
We're back for our second episode of Talks from the Dark Side.
Second video episode here.
Yeah. Pretty cool. We got our little...
we got the cards there, yeah.
Oh, yeah. We got the drawing of however many. What do we got? The Knight of Swords. He's going to be coming up a lot in this episode.
How many times in this episode does that card show up?
Oh, that's something we should have counted, man.
Well, let's count them now.
Sean from this recording date's going to throw out just, I think, 5 times. I think we see it.
What's your guess?
I think 8.
I'm going to be conservative 4.
Okay. We'll see who's right, who's wrong. In the premiere of this, you can let us have it, whoever's fucked up the worst.
So yeah, while we have our little ritual going on here, Chris, do you want to read the Fangoria plot synopsis for this?
Let's do it. So Fangoria's official synopsis, according to the episode guide, is a fortune teller's prognostications darken when a gypsy woman slips her a set of tarot cards which predict only grief and disaster. The only way to dispose of the deck is to pass it on to another reader, but before the woman can get clear of the cards, they foretell her own tragic end.
That's kind of accurate.
Yeah, it's pretty close.
I mean,
close enough.
When we get to the rules of this, I'm going to be like, look, you fucked up big time.
Yeah.
And that's why you got the end of the sword. The end of
she certainly had it coming once you get all the information.
100%.
Maybe not get killed, but Tales from the Dark Side. You know how it goes.
So our main character is Catherine, played by Dorothy Lyman. She's been in a ton of TV, like from the 60s and 70s, but she was in Alf, an episode of Alf.
Oh, there it is.
And and Mama's Family.
Oh, Mama's Family. Yeah. Oh my God, I haven't heard that name in fucking forever.
I can't remember her name. Vicky, the comedian. Vicky, I forget her name. Anyway.
Whoever. Yeah.
Whomever. But yeah, she's like a fraud in this, right? And she's like a fortune teller, but she only tells people like the good news.
Yeah, she's a very, well, straight off the gate, we should say that she's like not authentic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's a fraud.
She's a total
time.
Fraud, yeah. And she does it more to give people good news.
Yeah.
Like they come to her, even the woman says, like, oh, you give everybody a happy ending and what they want to hear.
And that's why she's been stealing the clientele from all the other psychics, fortune tellers, whatever you want to call them.
It's a small town, I guess. There's a lot of psychics.
I mean, if you've driven around any neighborhood, I know where I used to live in New Jersey, there was at least a strip on Route 37 where you could see one every 5 minutes. Like,
oh, yeah.
Come check. I don't know if any were active, but maybe it was in New Jersey. Maybe in Bayville, New Jersey is where this takes place. I don't know.
Madam Serena or some shit. I remember that.
Possibly.
There was a Palm Street neon sign hand. I remember that.
Yep.
See if I can dig a photo up of it.
It's kind of funny, though, that you guys mentioned that specifically about her being a fraud, but it's like... she's a fraud, and obviously she's ripping people off, but it's not like your typical fraud psychic type character that... Yeah, they're in it for the money, but it's not like vindictive. It's more just like you just said, she's just trying to give people something happy, whether it actually is or not.
She doesn't really give a shit because we opened this up and she's like, yeah, print me up
what a way to make a living.
Yeah. Print me up an ad that says, I give good news And use one of them fucking stupid palmistry hands too. That'll add a little bit of spunk to that fucking ad.
She definitely, with all of what I just said, the key takeaway is to get to point B, she's an asshole about it.
Oh, totally. And she has no respect for the tarot or the Kabbalah or any of the old gods, as we come to figure out, or how it comes to pass, rather.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I love the idea of you were just saying, like, I love the idea of like a bunch of fortune tellers, like her stealing other people's business, like the fortune teller mafia.
Yeah,
and they all got like fucking baseball bats.
Yeah, right.
Hey, we're gonna show you
Bunch
something.
Old gypsy woman come down the street in baseball bats.
The fucking lady
knocking
from
on her door.
The lady from the Wolfman's there.
Yeah.
They take him out to like a field, like the end of Casino. They strip him down, and I don't know who the they is in this situation, but they beat him with baseball bats.
The other fortune teller.
Oh, this woman. Yeah, they just beat her, up with it. I don't know. The Casino, everybody.
They give her a pair of fucking cement shoes, dude. Yeah. So she's a big fraud, right? And again, she always gives people good news. She's stealing business from all the other fucking fortune tellers around. They're not liking that. So what happens? She gets visited by an old woman with a curious.
What's her name?
Madame
Marlene? No, it's something.
Madame Marlena.
That's what it was. Yeah.
But she introduced herself like Marlene or something. Oh, my name's slightly different.
Hi, my name's Marlene. I'm totally not Madame Marlena. It's very similar, but it's not me.
She goes in incognito, man. She goes in just like really playing up that old woman stereotype.
Yeah, her name's Carmen Matthews, and she was in episodes of The Twilight Zone and Alfred Hitchcock Presents as well. So that was kind of cool. So she, again, we get these things where we have a lot of actors and actresses coming in from like the old anthology shows.
Yeah.
And kind of showing back up here. And it's really fun.
Yeah. The older actors a lot are like, they were in Twilight Zone originally. And it's like trying to figure out which episode they were in. It's like,
it's all connected.
Cool. Yeah. 30 years later, they're still doing anthology series. That's
I know. I wish we still had a good one now.
Not Black Mirror, not something like that.
No, not a Black Mirror, but again, another short format like this I think we could do with, and it not have to be connected. Like they did with that Are You Afraid of the Dark series.
Oh, yeah.
It's all like one overarching story.
Well, it's almost like American Horror Stories is the only thing that even comes to mind.
But it's not episodic, though.
No, I think the most recent one, they tried to be a little bit more episodic, but I didn't watch it. But my understanding is there's like multiple stories in it. Which, not the same thing, but it's getting there.
No, but case in point, they all twine back together, and where this is just standalone, Monster of the Week, whatever kind of thing.
Right. I know, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, Story of the Week, whatever.
I mean, does the Creepshow series count? We counting that?
Oh, yeah, I guess you're right.
What's the verdict on that one?
I guess you're right. I watched the entirety of season 1. It wasn't, like, awful, but it's not for me.
Yeah. I gave season 1 a chance. Season 2 started getting a little better. But then it kind of just...
That first episode of season 2 is pretty good. The one with the kid whose mom dies, who watches the monster movies. That was great.
That one's fun.
I like that one a lot. And again, it reminded me of that Tales from the Hood story.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's okay.
Yeah. Just kinda,
it's nothing where I'm like, holy shit, I gotta go watch that. Yeah. I wish it was. Which is kind of funny because we're talking about this fucking show from the 80s that was made on like a shoestring budget.
Right.
I'm not saying they're trying too hard, but maybe I am.
Yeah.
Maybe. But anyway, so this woman comes in incognito to get her palm read. And you kind of get...
cards.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course. They keep going in... Well, they keep saying reading, so my brain goes to palm reading. No, totally. But yeah, you're right, with the tarot. And we do kind of get that set up, like you guys were saying, where she's kind of like, yeah, I want to make people feel happy about it, but I'm also like being shady about how I'm handling these things. And she has like her one client's this old man who comes back later in the episode.
Isaac, yeah.
And, so we kind of get that idea right off the bat, what she's all about. So then this other woman comes in and wants a reading. She gets it. It's positive. It's some fluffy bullshit, but
you're gonna meet a tall, sexy, athletic man. He's a tennis player, and she's like, "Really? That sounds great. My husband's gonna hate that."
Yeah. I love how the Marlena leans into it. Responding how you would expect a person to respond, and then the second that our lead, what was her name, Catherine? You said,
yeah.
She turns around to get this woman some change for the $50 bill she hands her. And something happens behind her back. She takes the one set of tarot cards, and she switches it with one in her purse. And
the old switcheroo.
Literally,
the old fucking switcheroo.
And I'm sitting there watching this, like, okay, Okay, that doesn't seem like that's good for this character, but let's see what happens. And
Okay, dearie, see you later. Thank you.
she's like basically, yeah, exactly. She's kind of like Santa Claus, but she's like, you know, the kick is her leaving the door with the evil cards in play.
So Catherine immediately realizes that these cards are actually working because this girl comes in to see her. I forget what her name was.
Women with
Iris.
Iris
was her name. Woman with the pixie cut, but
yeah, you looked up and she was on Pee-wee as Dixie from Pee-wee's Playhouse.
I was trying to find out what she was in just a couple episodes of Pee-wee's Playhouse.
She has such a distinctive face.
Yeah,
and I was like, we've seen her.
You were
somewhere.
trying to figure out where she was coming, where you've seen her, but we couldn't remember.
Couldn't put a beat on it, but apparently Pee-wee's Playhouse. She comes in and she's like, oh, read my cards or whatever. And she's like, okay, and she's dealing it out, and she's like,
like hesitates,
and then like shuffle them back
in,
and like cut it again. Let's just do it again. So she puts it out again, and it reads exactly the same. And I was just like, what? Tell me, what is it? I want to know. I gotta know. And she's like, no, I can't. No, never mind. Let's try it one more time. So she does it one more time, and she's like, your fucking boyfriend's gonna die. And she's like, a what?
And the second she says that, you hear this like, sound effect of like cars crashing.
It's a cacophony of fucking car crashes
out of her front door.
You know, somebody just walked off a curb, like, Final Destination, and got hit by a bus outside.
Yeah. Like, did he crash into a car in front of the place?
Was she coming to pick her up?
Was he sitting out there waiting for her to be done?
I think
and
that's what it was.
Crashed into him? Like two cars hit him like from the front and the back and just squashed him.
Just very
But you know what's interesting about that? She supposedly doesn't give a shit about like this stuff, but she knows enough about tarot to know like what the hands mean.
She knows how to actually read them.
She just wants to go about it in a way that's not actually how you're supposed to do it.
Well, I think she just makes up like her own like interpretation for everyone.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, I laid some cards on the table. You're going to have a good job soon. You're going to get married soon. Stuff like that.
No matter what it says. But I think she can read them. And that's why she freaks the fuck out. And she's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Well, it's obviously kind of making fun of, whether you believe in this stuff or not, like the reality of the situation where it's like, most of the time this is like funny games. Like obviously you hear stories or maybe yourselves or people at home have had an experience with someone reading their palm or their tarot and saying, wow, that was eerily accurate.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say most of the time it's what you guys are describing, which they're making fun of with this character, where it's just firing off some very vague things and people picking up what they're putting down and misinterpreting it.
Here's some general good news. Give me my $60. See you later.
Well, that's what's the best part about the guy Isaac when he comes in, because he knows she's full of shit.
Yeah.
But he likes that she lies to him.
Yeah.
And he's like,
he likes the company.
Well, I guess he likes company, but again, she tells his story not a fortune. She reads his tarot.
Yeah.
And he's not an idiot. Like he knows exactly what everything is and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, the tarot's from the Kabbalah, and like the cards aren't anything to fuck with, and like you have to like really believe in the cards. And he's like, you see that shit right there? That's bad news.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm gonna fucking die, and that's okay, and I accept that. And she's like,
Well, okay, going back to what we were talking about earlier, that knight card.
Yes, the Knight of Swords.
Yes. Every time this card's played, you hear the swing sound effect, and we're not talking about Wayne's World. Imagine that. You just cut to fucking Wayne and Garth.
The card goes down.
Swing. But yeah, you hear that sound effect every time, and that's kind of your indicator to the audience that, uh-oh. And I'm sorry, Mr. Isaac. I'm glad you were okay with how you were going to go, but being dropped out of an elevator shaft doesn't sound too good to me. I don't know.
Oh, no, he's fucking kersplat. So she tries to, so she freaks out. She tries to get rid of the cards because she keeps drawing bad hands for everybody. And she knows that they're bad hands each time. It's not just a fluke. So she fucking throws them in the garbage and, tries to light them on fire and shit. Iris comes back. And she just threw him in the garbage, and she's like, I threw him out. I don't have the cards anymore. She's like, what are you talking about? They're right there in front of you.
Yeah.
And she's like,
some Talking Tina shit, man.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, can you read me my full tarot?
Yeah.
Because she didn't finish. And she's like, I gotta know. She's like, no, get out of here. So she throws her out. I don't even think she finishes her reading. No.
She's so freaked out by them teleporting around. She's like, fuck it, I'm out of here.
Yeah, Iris tries burning them, they're just coming back. She can't get rid of them, and then just kicks her out.
Oh yeah, Iris's fate is sealed.
Yeah, it's like,
but she doesn't know. Like she knows what it is. Imagine that. Imagine somebody predicting the death of a loved one and then not finishing your future.
Oh, man.
And then
I
you
wouldn't
just
sleep.
No, I'd be living in constant. I'm already living in fucking constant anxiety. I don't know what I would do.
So then she has like a friend that comes over, Catherine, and she's like, "Oh yeah, you know, so how you been lately? How's everything going?" And she's like, "I gotta be honest, that's kind of going to shit."
Well, she calls her up because she freaks out about the cards like reappearing, and they won't burn. She's trying to get rid of them, and she's like, "You gotta come over here quick." Yeah, she's pissing off all the fucking fortune tellers around the block, and she's like,
all the local fortune tellers.
She's like, you've been stealing them fucking businesses from the whole fortune teller army that lives down the street. How many fucking? They're like in blocks of each other.
Yeah, there's enough that it can't be that many.
Yeah,
where one woman is putting them out of business.
No,
and I know just from the show standpoint, this is MDU. I mean, I know we're in the Tales from the Darkside universe. I guess if you want to compact it a little, but I mean, it's joking on that my demon lover episode if you saw it, but I think the thinner guy lives down the street. Him and his daughter, they're in this neighborhood too.
Yeah, they got their caravan down there. They're turning fucking what's his name?
Oh, I forget the name of the lead guy. But
No. The guy.
Oh, Joe Montana.
They turned Joe Montana into a fucking alligator. It's crazy.
Yeah. He at the moment he's taking care of that baby. He doesn't know what's coming for him later.
The cherry pie, the whole thing.
Yeah.
So her friend comes over and she like convinces her to spend the night, and like she keeps telling her, "Oh, these cards, they're cursed or whatever. I can't get rid of them. They keep drawing a bad hand. People are fucking dying." And she's like, "You had nothing to do with Isaac's death." He's like, "I saw it." And then she's like, "Wait a second, he really is dead." And she's like, "Yeah, he died in he fucking elevator fell and killed him."
He went kersplat.
Splat. So she brings her like a cheeseburger and like some tea, and thinks everything will be better.
Which right there is like that's weird.
Yeah,
it's like here's cheeseburger and tea in a bag.
Is that like because she's a fortune teller, right? So she has to have like a little bit of her chakra tea,
I guess,
enlightened or whatever the fuck.
Let's go with that. Yeah,
and a cheeseburger.
Yeah.
So Catherine ends up locking the tarot cards, the curse deck, in a box, and like puts it on a nightstand, and is like, "We're gonna find out. We're gonna fucking find out tonight.
Yeah.
What's wrong? You're gonna prove it to you." So they're sleeping, and we hear this fucking crazy sound of like a box like being punched and like jittering all over the place. This box explodes with light, and there's like light and fog and shit coming out of it. It looks like Poltergeist when Craig T. Nelson opens the door in Poltergeist.
Oh my god!
And it's like it's coming out at him.
Yeah.
And she's like screaming at the tarot cards. She's just like, "What do you want from me?" Ah! And then, so her friend like finally lays it down.
Yeah.
What she has to do,
which somehow she knows that she didn't know a couple hours before.
This is just literally how it goes down. She's like, "Oh, who's in your shop?" And she's like, "There's girl Iris," and she's like, "Well, anybody else?" She's like, "Some old woman, Marlene."
Yeah.
Had a lot of money, and she goes, "Marlene with a lot of money."
You mean
couldn't be Madame Marlena, you think? And then she's like, "Hey." That's like Sean was saying that it was like she was being inconspicuous, and that's like going to some like your name is like people know you as Bob, and you go, "Hi, I'm Robert.
Yeah,
how you doing?"
Well, that is.
I put on sunglasses. You don't know who I am.
Glasses
and a hat.
I mean, inconspicuous to a point, but yeah, that's a good point. She might as well just said I'm Doris or something like that.
Yeah, like completely just like fake the name. She wasn't creative enough.
No. So then, Catherine goes to this woman's house/shop.
It's like a dilapidated building, and she's in there fucking going on about how the wolfbane is blooming because she looks like she's about to talk to
nuts.
fucking
Well, she's got the full like classic Romani kind of look at this point with the shawl or the head wrap rather.
Lon Chaney Jr. There we go.
Yes,
trying to get that out there.
And she tells her like, "Well, you got to hand it off to somebody else. That's what I had to do. Tough break."
Well, it's not just hand it off. It's you have to give it to somebody who doesn't believe in the power of the cards.
Yeah, she basically calls her out, says you're not a believer, or like you're not like you're not fit to do what you're doing.
You're making a mockery of the tarot deck,
yeah,
basically, and the gods and the magic that's within them.
And this woman knows her shit And she's like, you're unfit to be here.
She's like, it happened to me.
Yeah.
Here you go. And I gave you the switcheroo, baby. Now I'm free. Now I can just go live in my fucking dilapidated house and wear sunglasses inside.
Yeah.
Which definitely is implying that maybe Miss Marlena herself was a non-believer until a few days prior.
She says it straight up. She actually has like this monologue about it. So she's like, well, all you got to do is give it to somebody who doesn't believe.
Simple. Yeah.
Simple enough, right? You'd think. The problem with it is she goes to see like a Mama Loa.
I know, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Someone that the second you see her, you're already like, as an audience member, like, this woman probably believes, and I don't know how this is going to even work out in a positive sense for this character.
She is doing the whole Haitian. She's doing some fucking voodoo magic, man.
Fucking voodoo magic, man.
Well, and she's got the look. Again, I'm not trying to be too stereotypical, even though, you know, obviously they're playing up the different stereotypes, if you will, of different types of fortune tellers in this episode.
No, but you can't tell me that the King Willie gang ain't down the fucking street.
Dude, I'm with you.
No, there's definitely a voodoo thing going on.
Yeah, big time.
And she also, you know, she does do the switcheroo.
Yeah.
But she kind of fucks it up. And I was talking to Chris about this earlier, which I didn't think about, but like going back through the wiki for Tales, they kind of point this out. And I was thinking like, oh, I wonder if that is actually what happened. She switches the cards out before she actually gets the reading. So she gets the reading off the evil deck, whereas before the woman didn't switch the cards until after she got the reading.
Okay.
So I wonder also if that was. There's a lot of ways you can kind of look at how this ends,
and that actually changes like the whole ending, like a lot
completely. Yeah. And I was just going to bring that up because she switches the deck on this woman. Now I thought that the reason it didn't work was because this other Manny McNeil believed in the magic and respected the cards. So the cards are like, no, you can't fuck with me like that.
Yeah.
Hold your horses.
I mean, it could be. I'm just based off reading that. Somebody else figured that out, and I'm like, huh. There's actually some thought put to that. That kind of lines up.
No, that totally makes sense. No, I think that's what it is.
And she could also tell as soon as those cards are down, something's a little off because you can kind of see it in her face.
Well, that woman paused too, the same way she was doing when she was giving the readings to everybody else.
Yeah.
And she's like, I've never seen anything like this before. Like, I've never dealt a hand like this. And the last fucking card, the Knight of Swords, jumps out of her hand. She's like, why'd you make that card jump out of your hand? She's like, I'll make no magic.
Yeah, she puts it down. It's like magnets to the table.
She's like, why did you do that? She's like, I didn't fucking do it.
So then Catherine fucking runs out like in terror because she hears the
Swing!
And then she's like, ah!
This is hilarious because this woman has tried to burn these cards, throw them out, all this. She takes the whole deck and she's over a garbage can, like crying and screaming, going, ah!
Yeah, trying to light on fire again,
and
which we know doesn't work.
She pulls out the jack of clubs, I was going to say, the Knight of Swords, and then like makes it rain into the garbage can, and then she's trying to light the Knight of Swords on fire.
This thing's like the fucking One Ring. It can't be destroyed.
No, she's got to drop that fucker right into Mordor. Right, Mordor. In the fucking, the Mount Doom.
We all know what you mean.
Yeah.
Mount Doom.
Why didn't they just take eagles?
Here. Take this card and eagles and drop it in there. Tell them off. So she's dumping the cards in the thing. She's trying to light this fucking Knight of Swords on fire. And as she's doing this fucking
out of nowhere,
Body by Jake comes out of the fucking shadows and like grabs her and just stabs the shit out of her. And she's dead.
Classic mugger, you know?
Yeah, falls on the ground, cards right next to her.
Oh, dude.
And it zooms in on the card. There we go, full circle.
It looks like the Joker was there.
Yeah.
It's, when I first got here before we started this recording, I was kind of like, I didn't really like that one. But like going back through it, I was like, you know what, actually, this is a pretty good episode.
I think it's a great episode, actually. I mean, I guess we can get into final thoughts now.
Yeah.
I think it was a great episode. It's shot really well. It's written really well and acted really fucking well.
Yeah, this one I think is solid. It's like we've had a lot of, the last couple episodes. Yeah. There's a lot of humor and it's like we're all over the place as far as like the anthology series goes. But this one was very straightforward, like very much a drama.
Oh yeah. Exactly. And the tone is just very, very serious. There's no like joking around at all to be had in this. And it's, I wouldn't say it's like fantastic, but it's definitely within the Tales from the Darkside series. There are so many different genres and types of episodes, which was what makes the series so great. But this, among the types of episodes that are like this is one of the better ones.
Yeah. It's like the more of these we get into, the harder it's going to be to like
classify them,
rank these almost.
Yeah.
It's like you kind of have to go by like what sort of like category each episode fits in.
Like I would put this up against something like The New Man.
Yeah, that fits really well there.
Because they're both supernatural and they're both very much straightforward dramas.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't put this up against
Mookie and Pookie.
Mookie and Pookie.
Yeah.
Or even the last one we just did.
A clone.
The clone by the
yeah,
telephone.
yeah.
Like I wouldn't even put it up against that either.
Yeah.
You know, because it's just two different kinds of flavors. You know?
Now, like looking ahead, it's like you could tell where this is going to like fit with other episodes, but this being a more straightforward like drama, I think it's a solid episode.
I agree with you, and like we were talking about before with Creepshow and all that, and in the anthology series, like Chris and I have seen this series more than once, and Sean's coming on the ride with us as we go through them. But I could imagine like how this aired for people watching it, like when it came out, and like how you would anticipate wanting to watch these because it's completely different every week.
Yeah,
you know,
you have no idea what you're getting into.
You have no idea what you're getting into.
Yeah,
it's like
you might know the tone, but even the tone, like you're saying, is a little all over the place.
You don't know. You know, you could get a comedy one, you could get a drama one, you can get a little mix of both. You can get a monster, you can get a ghost, you can get a devil.
I could see somebody being like completely blindsided by something like this. Like not, maybe this episode, but like when they do get serious, when they get used to jokes and then go to serious, like switch gears like that, I'm sure it like, creep some people out.
I that's what I was going to say too. The music in this one specifically and some of the shots, it's creepy.
Yeah.
It's very creepy.
Yeah, there's a tone in this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not too much of like that circus music or like
well,
I mean specifically like I was going back and listening to a couple of the episodes from last year just to kind of like refresh my memory, and like there's a couple episodes where we call out the music, and it could just be the music they redid because there was all that weird licensing stuff that you guys have talked about.
Check out that first episode of Talks from the Dark Side. We go way into it and how the licensing wasn't renewed for the DVD release of Tales from the Dark Side, because the original soundtracks are not intact and they had to like change everything.
Right. And just to your point, Joe, the baby music thing, there's an episode on Patreon, a mini-so we did last month that I do go off on that. Patrons, if you know, if not, head over to patreon.com/moviedumpster. $2, $5, and $10 tiers. Everyone can check it out.
Slid it right in.
But on the last episode we did before the end of the year, the Gin No Chaser.
Yeah.
We specifically talk about that. I think you and Chris even were going back and forth talking about some of this music is just so bad, and it kind of was circus music-esque or baby music-esque.
And I feel like a lot of those can like make or break an episode.
Yeah.
It's like watching the older ones. It's like you'll see. It's like there's different tones completely with a lot of these because of just the music.
But this one, music's really good. It's consistent throughout. It kind of fits each scene, and you even have moments, and this happens in some other episodes that I've watched but we haven't covered yet, where they will do things with the music that kind of matches what's happening on screen, and you don't always get that, but when you do, it's like, wow, this little extra element really just it's almost like a cherry on top, or like window dressing in a good way.
I guess before we wrap this up, I just want to talk a little bit about, not necessarily get into the nitty-gritty of tarot, but specifically the Knight of Swords, and what it means in this episode, and what it actually means in the deck itself.
Yeah, and this is like when we went through it to, get ready for this episode, it's like we're like, this can't be a mistake. It can't be just a metaphor for, her getting stabbed.
Yeah.
It has to be something else. So looked into it.
And it turns out, I mean, I have it right here, so I'm not super well versed in this, so I'm gonna just read this. The Knight of Swords acts more like a messenger, but not necessarily of bad news. It needs to be in tandem and in context with something else for it to be the harbinger of something bad, right?
Yeah.
So it could be he's literally just a messenger card that's paired with other cards to give you whatever the outcome is.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Good, bad.
Good, bad, or in between.
Bad.
I mean,
bad, or bad.
When you put in the context of the episode, though, like a messenger, like Yeah, he might not have cut that string on the elevator, but he sure as hell pushed old Isaac in there, maybe, or he might not have stabbed her in the alley, but he sent old mugger boy after him.
I don't know, man. He went shring and he cut the fucking cord for the elevator. He went shring and he stabbed that woman.
Imagine if you had like smoke come out of the elevator and some guy on a horse.
What is he fucking?
The elevator cord.
I'm just picturing like Odin from Final Fantasy VII as you say that the elevator opens and Odin walks out and just cuts fucking Isaac in half.
He's he's like the Headless Horseman.
Yeah,
dude.
If they had a little more of a budget with this series, maybe we'd get a guy on a horse. Big shiny sword.
Yeah,
creepy.
Well, we get a car crash in audio form anyway. But so that was in the cards, and until next time, I'm Joel Escola.
I'm Sean O'Rourke,
and I'm Chris Bahr.
Tales from the Dark Side is always there, waiting for us to watch it, waiting for us to hit play. Until next time, try to find it on DVD and watch along with us.